What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean Strickland roasts Ian Garry for call out. The saga between Ian Machado Garry and Colby Covington continues to rumble on. Ever since Garry called out chaos in his post-fight interview after beating Jeff Neal at UFC 298 in February, the pair have been trading barbs back and forth on social media. Garry maintains he wants to fight Covington on the undercard of UFC 303 on June 29th, while Covington has been poking fun at Garry and his wife via a series of Instagram videos. Last week, the unbeaten Irishman stated that he had agreed to the fight and was waiting for Covington to reciprocate. He has since released a series of videos asking for Colby to sign the agreement, the latest of which sees him calling out Covington in Portuguese, while grappling with a training partner in his current home of Brazil.
Cadê Colby? Cadê você? Vamos, meu amor!
One notable comment under the clip came from former middleweight champion Sean Strickland, who made reference to the time Garry wore a t-shirt with Jeff Neal's face on the front. Strickland tweeted, "What's a better call out? Slapping a man for missionary or having your wife tell you to wear a shirt with a mugshot on it?" Strickland has also been on Garry's radar for quite some time. In the lead up to Garry's fight with Vicente Luque at UFC 296, which was cancelled when Garry became ill, Strickland was one of the loudest voices in the hailstorm of social media abuse suffered by Garry and his family. The Future has often spoken of a potential future move up to 185 pounds, and perhaps Strickland might be the perfect name to welcome him into the division. Next up, Joe Rogan not happy with UFC weight cuts. Extreme weight cutting has long been an integral part of fighting. Much like in wrestling or boxing, the athletes tend to look for every available advantage when it comes to preparing for a fight. Speaking with Joe Rogan on his podcast this week, BMF champion Max Holloway explained that weight cutting is a necessary evil simply because everybody does it.
She's like, oh, you're that heavy. Why did you fight at this? I'm like, I only do it because everybody else is doing it. You know, like if we don't do it, if I don't do it, then I'll fight a 170er. You know, like imagine my ass stepping in there fighting like a Jose, not a Jose, but like a George St. Pierre.
Right.
Yeah, bro, that guy is fucking huge.
He's
you know
pretty
what I mean,
big.
bro? He's
or
huge. Kamaru, you know what I mean? Leon
huge.
is a big boy
Leon's
too.
Huge. Yeah.
So it's like, bro, everybody just do it because everyone's doing it.
Exactly. They have to do it because but all those guys are 200 pounds. All those 170s.
200 plus.
Yeah,
oh,
they're 200
crazy.
pounds.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Rogan believes the UFC have the means to change how athletes manage their weight going forward.
Think about what they do with drug-free sport now. It used to be USADA. They'll find you wherever you are and give you a random drug test. Well, why can't they find you and put you on a scale and get a hydration read on you and go,
and make
Max,
sure,
you're 172 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, you're not 145 pounds, Max. You're a 172 pound fighter.
Yeah.
So you could probably be healthy and fully hydrated at 165. That's probably where you should fight.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do something crazy to lose a lot of weight. Lose a lot of weight. Like go running every day for 100 miles.
The only
Next up, let's take a look at Paddy Pimblett reveals next UFC fight. Paddy Pimblett is riding high at the moment. Unbeaten in his UFC career to date and now a father to newborn twins, it seems things are going pretty well for the Scouser. The baddie came into the UFC back in 2021 and has since won all 5 of his fights inside the octagon. After having to deal with some injury issues and go through multiple surgeries, he was inactive through most of 2023, but returned in December to pick up a unanimous decision win over Octagon veteran Tony Ferguson. Now, with UFC 304 set to take place in Manchester, England this summer, the unranked Pimblett sees this as the right place and the right time to take the next step in his career and wants an opponent in the top 15. Speaking on his YouTube channel, he explained that he's not convinced if Bobby Green, who called him out after UFC 300, deserves the fight.
I think you'll see your boy on there. I just know UFC 300. Everybody wants a slice of the body. Bobby Green, scream my name on the mic after it. Didn't surprise me, you know what I mean? He might be ranked, but he's got no followers and he needs me, you know what I mean? Just like everyone else, they want to fight me because, you know, I'm the boy. Bobby Green's an option. If Bobby Green wants to fight, I'm there.
Pimblett sounded far more positive about the prospect of facing another fighter who called him out after UFC 300. Renato Money Moicano.
I'd rather fight me boy Moicano. Where you at, Renato? I don't even dislike Renato Moicano. I actually like him. He's a funny guy. He's a cool dude. So me and him having a fight would be hilarious. The build up to that fight would be very, very funny. I think it'd be even funnier if me and him done a season of The Ultimate Fighter. That'd be 6, 7, 8 weeks of pure comedy for the fans. So I would. I'd love that. I'd love that, to be honest. And I'd rather go right in at rank 10 rather than beating rank 15. But next for me is someone obviously Hopefully it's someone in the top 15. You know, I don't want to fight down. I want to be trying to fight up. I want to try and get ranked.
The baddie also believes the pair would make fantastic opposing coaches on the next season of The Ultimate Fighter. Next up, we have Michael Bisping sending a warning to Islam Makhachev. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping believes Islam Makhachev should park his aspirations of becoming a two-weight world champion and focus on the lightweight division for now. The 155-pound champion and pound-for-pound #1 has been discussing the lack of exciting challenges he sees in his division of late, and said recently that he would like to step up and challenge himself against reigning welterweight champion Leon Edwards in the near future. Indeed, the fight almost came to fruition as Makhachev was one of the fighters offered the opportunity to fight Edwards at UFC 300. Makhachev turned that opportunity down due to the event's proximity to Ramadan and the effect that would have on his training camp. But he remains ambitious and sees the chase for double champ status as a more enticing option than some of the challengers who lay in waiting at 155 pounds. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Bisping believes that Makhachev may be underestimating the threat that Leon Edwards poses.
He wants a shot at becoming a two-weight division champion, as I said before, just like he offered Volkanovski. But be careful what you wish for, because Leon Edwards, right? Leon Rocky Edwards is an absolute sniper in there. And look at what he just did to Colby Covington. Now, apparently Colby Covington says that he broke his foot in the first round. And he also said that the judges, well, they were Democrats. And because of his love for Donald Trump, that's why they didn't give him the decision. The reality was it wasn't a close fight. And apparently I'm hearing rumors, saw it online on Instagram anyway.
Bisping warned that Makhachev may not have it all his own way in the grappling exchanges if the pair were to fight.
Leon Edwards is not a wrestler, but he is a black belt in defending takedowns and stopping takedowns against the fence, okay? That first round against Kamaru Usman in the second one when he knocked him out, headshot dead, right? Remember, nice little foot trip, got the mount, took the back, got the body triangle, was looking for the rear neck, he choked. Yes, okay, he got dominated for rounds 2, 3, and 4, but it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And it finished with Leon wrapping his around the face of Kamaru Usman and becoming the champion, defending again against Kamaru and defending, of course, last time against Colby.
Makhachev is scheduled to face Dustin Poirier in the main event of UFC 302 on June 1st in Newark, New Jersey. Since winning the title against Charles Oliveira back in October of 2022, he has only fought twice, picking up 2 victories over the former featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. Leon Edwards also won his championship title in 2022 when he knocked out Kamaru Usman, and he's since defended the strap twice after beating Usman in a rematch and Colby Covington at UFC 296 last December. Next up, we have Chael Sonnen sends a warning to Tom Aspinall. British MMA fans finally received the news they've been waiting for earlier this month when the UFC announced it would be holding a pay-per-view event in Manchester, England later this year. With welterweight champion Leon Edwards looking very likely to finally face #1 contender Belal Muhammad in the main event, speculation has begun to surround the current heavyweight interim champion Tom Aspinall and who he might face when the UFC comes to town. Aspinall spent a considerable amount of time and energy chasing a unification bout against Jon Jones in the immediate aftermath of his interim title win over Sergey Pavlovich. But it seems Jones and the UFC are hell-bent on pursuing the previously agreed fight with Stipe Miocic once Bones recovers from the torn pectoral muscle, which is keeping him on the sidelines at the moment. The 2 names in the hat for a potential fight with Aspinall this summer seem to be Curtis Blaydes and Ciryl Gane. But speaking on his Good Guy Bad Guy podcast this week with Daniel Cormier, Chael Sonnen believes Gane's previous very conclusive defeat to Jon Jones means it would be unlikely that the UFC will want to place him in a position where he potentially claims Aspinall's interim title, and therefore a possible title shot against Jones.
Daniel, I believe that the problem is if you do bring Ciryl back, you now, if he wins, you put a belt around Ciryl. If Jon Jones is agreeable, you're going to do a rematch with Jon Jones and Ciryl. I think that's too tough. After the performance that Ciryl gave or did not give, I just don't think there's any scenario where they redo that match, and you would run into a big risk if you put the belt around him.
Cormier reminded Sonnen that Ciryl Gane refused to acknowledge Aspinall as a potential opponent back when he held the interim strap, and feels Aspinall may also see this as an opportunity to give the Frenchman the cold shoulder in return.
Tom Aspinall's in the crowd waiting for his moment. Joe, we've now seen this 2 times. We saw Sean O'Malley do it to Merab Dvalishvili in Miami. It did not make him get the fight. Even though Sean tried to kind of not no-sell him, he still ultimately is getting the fight. Tom Aspinall is waiting, Chael, for his moment. Ciryl Gane no-sells him. doesn't let him in the octagon.
All of this leaves Curtis Blaydes as the most likely contender to fight Aspinall at UFC 304. Blaydes is the only fighter to beat Aspinall in the UFC after the Englishman injured his knee and fell out of their first fight after just 15 seconds back in 2022. Next up, let's take a look at Ilia Topuria rejects UFC fight. After Ilia Topuria won the UFC featherweight title in spectacular fashion by knocking out Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 in February, former champion Max Holloway instantly stepped back into the title discussion at 145 pounds. Holloway held the belt in that division for 2.5 years before losing it to Volkanovski, and after losing to the Australian 3 times, seemed unlikely to ever get a shot at the title again, while Volkanovski remained in the hot seat. Now that there's a new face at the top of the division, Blessed has re-entered the picture. Following his recent BMF title win, Topuria tweeted his congratulations to Holloway. Holloway responded with, "It's all love, champ. I'll be seeing you soon." Jeremiah 51:20. Topuria's response was aggressive and long-winded, and Holloway addressed this on his recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience.
So we had a Bible verse off on Twitter. Everybody's like saying freaking 10-8 Holloway because the verse I used against him, and then he writes and I don't say nothing. That's all I said. And he writes like a freaking paragraph, bro, to me. Like I didn't even read it. That's how long it was. He writes a paragraph to me, brother. I didn't read it. And I was just tripping out. I was like, it was like an angry girlfriend text, you know? Like my wife don't even text me like that. So I was like, I read the first 2 sentences. I was like, I'm not reading this, bro. What the hell is going on with you? You know? But I don't know what's going on.
I love that you didn't read it.
Brother, I don't know what's going on, bro. I was like, I read the first 2 and then I saw you had to scroll. I was like, what the fuck? Did I make my wife mad? I had to make sure that wasn't her, you know? Like, what the hell?
That's hilarious.
During the interview, Rogan appeared to let slip some interesting news about Topuria turning down a rematch with Volkanovski in Perth later this year.
Yeah, I don't know who he wants to fight next, but I mean, I guess he feels like he's a champ, he can call the shots. But I know that he turned down the Perth one, the 305, the Volkanovski rematch.
Oh, yeah?
Topuria has been in demand since picking up the 145-pound title. Bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley called for a super fight with the Georgian after his recent title defense against Marlon Vera, and there have been rumors of a potential UFC event in Topuria's adopted homeland of Spain at some point in the near future. It seems, however, that Holloway is the man in pole position to fight El Matador at the moment. After UFC 300, his star has never been higher, and it looks like the UFC could have another box office hit on their hands when these two finally meet inside the octagon. Next up, we have UFC Fight Updates. Some new fight news have been announced for upcoming UFC events. Miles Chapo Johns will face Douglas D. Silva de Andrade at UFC Vegas 93 at the Apex on June 15th. The bantamweights both come into this bout with plenty of UFC experience, and Johns will be looking to continue his fine form, having won 4 of his last 5 inside the octagon. De Andrade has won 3 of his last 4, but has not competed since May of last year when he beat Cody Stamann. Also in the bantamweight division, Ricky Simón will put his number 15th place in the rankings on the line when he takes on Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira at UFC 303 during International Fight Week on June 29th. Simón has wins against some credentialed opponents such as Merab Dvalishvili, Rafael Assunção, and Jack Shore. He comes into this fight on a 2-fight skid, however, and will be looking to get back to winning ways against Oliveira. Meanwhile, the Brazilian caught everyone's eye in his UFC debut recently with an impressive flying knee knockout win over Bernardo Sopai. Oliveira has won 9 of his last 10 fights, and Simón could be fighting for his UFC future here. Also at UFC 303, Cub Swanson will make his 24th appearance inside the octagon when he takes on fellow veteran featherweight Andre Fili. Swanson is coming off a win in his last fight and at age 40 is showing no signs of slowing down just yet. Islam Makhachev sends a warning to Dustin Poirier ahead of their fight at UFC 302. He claims that a fight against Poirier will be easy because of his wrestling. Here's what Islam had to say.
Dustin is already legend. He have more than everybody experience in this sport, but his problem is his style. Just one problem this guy have. His weak point is wrestling and the grappling. And I have the key for the easy fight. I think if I follow the plan, I can beat him easy. My style and Khabib's style, it's a war style for the Dustin. People who can take him down, hold him there, always give him problem. And I'm not underestimating Poirier because, you know, this guy is the legend. He can beat everybody. He have better than everybody striking in my division, in this sport. That's why I prepare myself for the tough fight, for the next fight, with the Poirier. Dustin, be ready, and wrestling a lot. I defend my neck. I ready for your guillotine. That's why it's not happening in our fight, but I will be ready.
Dana White is pissed off with Conor McGregor after news of him becoming part owner of BKFC has now been announced. Founder of BKFC, Dave Feldman, had this to say about Dana White.
Listen, Dana White has a juggernaut with the UFC. You know, I mean, Conor McGregor certainly moves the needle for him, but, you know, he's very, very successful without him. So I'm not that he's fighting for us, I'm saying, but as him promoting our product, who knows, right? I mean, you're probably a little mad. Your number one star is going to talk about a different company, so you're probably not very happy about it, but he's not worried about us. Not yet.
Top comments. Jamal still dreaming Hill. A guy that hasn't fought in 2 years saying the sport moves fast is ironic. Jamal said he didn't get knocked out. LMAO, what a clown. Hill and Izzy both can't stop talking about Alex, starting to think these two got some secret feelings for Alex.